that we would like to share again. What is inward journey? Papa keeps on harping on this point, that inward journey is a must. Day for yesterday, when we were hearing about what he said about Ramnam, he said 4 things you remember. Name is God. Name is all-powerful. When you chant the name, he must reveal himself in your heart. And the 4th one is, he is ever waiting for you. He is ever waiting for you. If these 4 statements are to be understood, unless and until we take to inward journey, can we understand? So inward journey is a must. Initially, while repeating Ramnam, we did not give much importance to it. But now a stage has come that we must. Because he has many a time made it very clear. In one statement he says, to enter into the mysterious origin of your and the world life, you have to try. To know who you are in reality is the real quest. To arrive at this truth, you have to, by a systematized process of thought and discipline, transcend all human limitations set by the body, mind, intellect, and then, embarking on the realm of the spirit, realize your immortal, changeless, blissful nature. This constitutes spirituality. So yesterday, Papa gave us the clue that there could be 3 approaches. One approach is that nothing we take it as casual. We are talking about inward journey. When we take the specs, it will not be taken as a casual thing. Immediately we go back when there was no specs in the world. How you prompted one of your selected human beings to think about, to conceive about a specs. How you made him to spot out or identify the raw materials for it. How you kindled the supreme intelligence in him to innovate. And finally, when the concept became an actuality, the entire humanity is benefited. When we wear our shirt, when we use any object, we will not dwell now on the superficial level. We will try to go to the origin. That's what Papa said, Try to enter into the mysterious origin of your and the world life. Straight away we cannot enter into our own life because it is subjective, difficult. Right from our young age we have been going out with the help of the 5 sense organs, our mind has been going out and out only. So to suddenly turn inward, it may be difficult. Not that it is impossible. In many cases it is possible. But normally, by and large, it is difficult. So we try to go the other way. We try to see the origin of everything that we come across, everything that we observe, everything that matters in our life. We go to its source. Suppose a badam or any dry fruit, we eat any fruit. Immediately we think about apple, for example. Apple is a gift of Mother Nature, through an apple tree. But he prompted an individual to identify this as a fruit that can be taken, and he must have named it as apple. You and I are taking it. Many things are there in the forest. Do we take? No. Like that, there is an attempt on our part to go to the source, Even the apple that has been given by the apple tree, it needs a seed. Where from the seed comes? It can come only from the fruit. Where from the fruit comes? It can come only from the tree. And where from the tree comes? Our intellect cannot go beyond this. So there must be a causeless cause at the beginning, from where it has started, where our intellect cannot go. That is why he said, transcend all human limitations set by the body, mind and intellect. So where do we get the answer? We can't get the answer. But to satisfy our intellect, for enabling us to go further, the Lord has mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that I am the eternal seed of everything. I am the intelligence of the intellect. I am the life force in everybody. Like that in so many shlokas he is bringing out. So placing our 100% faith on the words of the Master, we try to see there is a causeless cause, whom we call as God. This is an outcome of inward journey. This is one method. If we are successful in that, every time when I see a soap, when I see a cart, when I see a building, why? Even when I speak the letters, A to Z, or in different languages, we salute to that individual, and through the individual to the Almighty Lord of the universe who has selected him, who has prompted him to bring out these letters. We cannot even imagine how the A to Z came. We cannot imagine. But because of that now the communication is possible. If we are just floating at the surface level, we may not be able to understand. So like that, one method is to try to go within, slowly, gradually. When the mind is tutored, when the mind is trained to think in terms of probing into the origin of everything, suddenly one day, you will also think where from the thought comes. We are chanting Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Why are we chanting? In order to go to the source, we have to clear the path. Now the path is so much full of thoughts. So unless all these thoughts are removed, with the broomstick we clear all these things. Similarly, we have to clear. So Ram Nam helps us to free us from all thoughts. And then finally, it faces itself when it takes us to the goal. This is what our Master said. You will all remember his words. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. It is in the stillness that you know and realize God. So this is how the one approach. Another approach is we develop the witness consciousness. There are 3 types of chanting suggested to us, out of which when we graduate ourselves to the third one, the mental chanting, when it is going on, mental chanting means there won't be any lip movement or tongue movement, there won't be any sound coming out, it is purely a mental exercise. So when initially thoughts may disturb, we open our eyes, we try, we open, we try. Finally, we will be able to get grounded in it. Then slowly, the witness conscious emerges. Meaning, you know that you are chanting. This knowing principle is there throughout. We were not aware of it. When we walk, we know that we are what? Now you know that you are hearing. You know that you are seeing. What is that knowing principle? Sarvadi Sakshi Bhūtam. The watcher is the real you, the self-immortal, Papa says. Sit silent, detach yourself from the mind and watch its activities. The watcher is the real you, the self-immortal. This is another method. But there is one more method which is more easier, uncomplicated. Communion with God. We try to commune. We try to have a dialogue with Him. Initially it may be limited to a few periods in the day. Later on we pray, we ardently pray to keep up this remembrance as and when we are free from the duties given to us by Him. In between. This is the safest. Because then, though this is an inward journey, we will not feel it as an inward journey. There is no struggle, there is no strain involved. There is no dryness there. You all remember that prayer, Thy Glory, no? Like that some prayer, suppose we start chanting and then take up. Ram Nam is for remembering Him. Ram Nam is for remembering Him. Ram Nam is for remembering Him. I keep on hammering this. Remembering means He is behind everything. So we don't know that. Though He is behind everything, we are not aware of His presence. So now the third attempt is to have this awareness in the form of communication. In the life of various devotee Mahatmas, Bhaktottamas, who have scaled the highest, they have used this simple method. They did not break their head with anything. For anything and everything they consult Him. You have given me a sense of individuality and a freedom to act as an individual, but I know you are holding the rein. So please guide me. So whenever you subject me to go through a challenge, in order that the mind is withdrawn from the field and to develop this dialogue, you have given us the holy and all-powerful name of God. So this is the safest. All other things we have learned so far should ultimately enable us to develop this communion with God. The more we think about it, He gives us more clarity. He says, the first is nearness. The feeling of nearness of God, How do we develop it? By prayer, by bhajan, by satsang. We try. So the nearness, by communion with God. Then slowly it will lead to the presence, feeling of presence. Suppose we take it like that. You are there, you are making me to act, you are making me to talk, you are making me to think, you are making me to forget about your presence inside and making me to act. It's okay. But let me become aware of this. Why are you putting me in this? Why are you making me to go through this trying moment? Why are you not making me aware of your presence at those moments? When I have got bodily pain, it is very difficult for me to remember you. You know that. Because the bodily pain, it overweighs, With the result, I am unaware of your presence. Only when I become aware, I can draw the necessary strength to endure the pain. So, all these things, these are all dialogues. And to become more and more humble, when we open our eyes, we see the whole world in varied form. So, these are the three types. And when we were talking about the second type, we also touched upon the gap between, when we are trying to train our mind to free ourselves from thoughts, we take to chanting of the name and then we watch. What do we watch? The end of Ramnam and the beginning of the next Ramnam. There is a gap. We try to widen the gap. These are all nice to hear, but very difficult to practice. But still, Papa has advised us, Mataji has advised us to try this also. So whichever is okay for us, whichever line is okay for us, comfortable for us, we can do that. That means Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. There is a gap between these two, which is the great void, which is the substratum, which is God, which is Atman, which is silence, which is stillness. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. It is in the stillness that we can know and realize God. So that stillness, when thoughts come, we do Ramnam. Ramnam arrest all dissimilar thoughts. And finally, slowly, gradually, it gets grounded. And then we start watching. And when we start watching the gap between these two, finally the watcher also will not be there. Not only that the chanting stops, but the watching also stops. And on that particular moment, we were reminded of the inspiring words of Papa and Swami Shivanji Maharaj about the silence. Yesterday we said, during our 3:30 session, we will make a trial to go through that. It is highly subjective. So 100% concentration is necessary. Then only the real benefit can be had. It is an auto-suggestion, but still, it's very nice, very helpful. So ultimately, Nishtala Tattvam, you remember? Adi Shankara in Bhajagopindam, he said, Satsangatve Nitsangatvam, Nitsangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Nishtala Tattvam, Nishtala Tattve Jivanmukti. So finally, we have to reach that silencing stage, stilling stage. So about that, first let us see what Papa says and followed by Swami Shivanji Maharaj says. Papa says, bhajan must lead you into silence. Silence not merely orally, but mentally. That stage of silence you must reach soon, without going on making noises all the life. We are talking about inward journey. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. In that stillness it is that you know and realize God. Out of silence, tremendous forces are released. Wonders are what? Learn to be silent. It is not merely outer silence, but inner silence, silence of the mind. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, we arrive at the true basis of our life. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation of comfort in their amazing variety and multiplicity. When we recede into the depths of silence within us, we arrive at the true basis of our life. We discover that from this source, all life and manifestation of comfort in their amazing variety and multiplicity. It is at this source that we discover the eternal fountain of peace and joy. Source S capital. Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, the source, he will be simply groping on the surface, and therefore in the dark, in pursuit of vain and evanescent things, believing that these can yield him the true peace and happiness which his soul hungers for. We are all in this stage. Until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence. What is this fundamental existence? Silence within. The source. He will be, until an individual gets the vision of this fundamental existence, he will be simply groping on the surface, and therefore in the dark, in pursuit of vain and evanescent things, believing that these can yield him the true peace and happiness which his soul hungers for. He is beyond our comprehension. Therefore, silence is he. Silence is Brahman. The self does not require silence. It is always silent. He is beyond our comprehension. Therefore, silence is he. Silence is Brahman. The self does not require silence. It is always silent. Now, Swami Shivananda Maharaj says, purify the mind and meditate. Be still and know that you are God. Calm the mind. Silence the bubbling thoughts and surging emotions. Plunge deep into the innermost recesses of your heart. God or Brahman is supreme silence. Soul is silent. Peace is silent. Atman is silent. Silence is the language of the Brahman. Silence is the language of the heart. Silence is the language of the sage. Silence is immense strength. Silence is great eloquence. Silence is God. Silence is the substratum for this body, mind, prana and senses. Silence is the background for the sense universe. Silence is power. Silence is a living force. Silence is the only reality. The peace that passes all understanding is silence. The goal of your life is silence. The aim of your life is silence. The purpose of your existence is silence. Behind all noises and sounds is silence, thy innermost soul. Silence is thy real name. Silence is intuitive experience. Silence helps the intuitional self to express itself. Mysterious is the silence. To go into silence is to become God. Enter into silence. Know the silence. Enjoy the magnanimous silence. Become silence itself. Realize God now and here. After taking to inward journey, after going into the depth of our being, after tasting the experience of that blissful state, they have come out and given to us. They built it up, step by step. But when we go through it again and again and again, we are gradually, unknowingly trained to go within, deeper within. Where he is seated in the form of silence. And the moment he makes us to become aware by a thought, we can establish a link between him. Because we have experienced his presence. So inward journey, Ram Nam chanting coupled with inward journey. In Papa's words he says, ceaseless chanting of his name, coupled with contemplation on the attributes of God, came to him right from the beginning. He was not merely chanting. He was not merely contemplating. He was trying to, or he was made to, do it simultaneously so that the grounding became proper, not coming and going. He was quite well aware of the name of God, He was chanting. Who is within? Who is making him to chant? He knew the substratum. He knew the name. He had the right concept of God. Plus he was doing it. It was not merely a contemplation. Because when he comes back to the individual level, this practice has to be there. As an embodied self, the limitations are there. So the practice should be there. Unless the final grounding takes place. Just like when we learn the cycling, the balance stays with us. But until such time you have to struggle. The balance does not come from outside. It is purely tickling or kindling the inner faculty in us. Like that, when we apply everything that he made us to master, or he made us to discover, invent, innovate, bring out, we find that perseverance was necessary, patience was necessary, concentration was necessary, contemplation was necessary, commitment was necessary, dedication was necessary. With all that, same thing applies here. So inward journey is a must. Along with our chanting this, then only we will be able to understand Papa's words. Otherwise it will be, we will be floating on the surface level. When he made us to hear the source, that he is waiting there to hear your call. So chanting and call, we start thinking. There is a difference between chanting and there is a difference between, there is another meaning for calling. Calling means, you want him to hear. No? Chanting becomes, if it is not supported by this urge to call, urge to awaken, then that is what we are all doing. We have been doing all these years. So this calling, is purely an inversion. That's why Papa keeps on reminding it like a parrot, First of all, you should know that he is seated within. Then you should know that it is he who is making you to chant. To remember God is to remember your own self. To worship God is to worship your own self. To surrender God is to surrender yourself to your own self. So that you may know that you are the self. Self here means Atman, which you are in reality. You have forgotten it. You have become ignorant of it. Forgetfulness is removed by remembrance and ignorance by knowledge. So remembrance leads to knowledge. Here knowledge means not academic knowledge, not textual knowledge. It is experience, chit. You are asked to take Ram Naam. The name of Ram is the name of your own self. He is called Atma Ram. When you remember God or Ram, you should feel that you are remembering your own immortal self so that you may ultimately realize that you are the self. You have to seek Him within yourself. External worship is a distant means of realizing God. The sooner you begin to worship Him in your own heart, the better for you. Then in a short time you will realize that you and He are not different. As from the beginning you think that the God whom you have to realize or see is outside you, your struggle becomes protracted and you meet with frustration. Therefore, even after continuous struggle, you do not find results which satisfy you. You meet with failure after failure because the mind is going out to external forms of worship. If you worship God outside in any form, your mind is externalized. And from that form, it goes to other forms or objects and your mind remains as distracted, as restless as ever. Sometimes Papa is very blunt. You should feel His presence within yourself by constant remembrance. Then you will realize Him within and know ultimately that you are He. External forms of worship take a long time for you to turn your mind within. You find it very difficult. You must have a sadhana which is independent. Last one. You must have a sadhana which is independent. That is not dependent upon external condition, form or environment. Wherever you are, you must be able to tune yourself with God. Wherever you are, you must be able to tune yourself with God within. Meditation should come to you automatically through constant remembrance. People without any practice of continuous remembrance or concentration try to meditate on God and they do not succeed. The mind is wandering in 1,000 places and they find it very hard to control it. If you take up the practice of chanting God's name, the name of your own self, your mind will easily get concentration. Meditation will then become very easy. Take His name for a long time, then sit for meditation. You will find the mind disappears in no time. You will forget the body. Be conscious that you are the Atman. Thereafter you remain in that consciousness at all times and in all situations. You may be active in the world. Still you have the consciousness without break. This is called the Jivan Mukti state. The Jivan Mukta is active, does many things which ordinary people also do, but still he is in a state of perfect inner equality, tranquility, peace, serenity, equipoise, because he is one with the pure changeless spirit. When you know you are one with the self and active in the world, action does not bind you. Your actions are the outflow of the divine energy in and through you. That work, as the Gita says, will be for the welfare of the world. It is not done with the consciousness that you are bringing about peace and harmony in the world. When selfishness is absent, you cannot but think of the welfare of the people around you. The sun does not give light with a view to cheer us. We take advantage of the light and are happy. So also the actions of a given mukta are spontaneous. He is helpful and loving to everybody because it is his nature. Not that he does anything deliberately. The sun can give only light, not darkness. So a saying, live only for the good of others. We will again read all subjects. So the same self, when he says we are chanting the name of our own self, capital S, doubt may arise. No, who is chanting? So for enabling us to understand, Mahatmas and scriptures say there are two selves in us. One is the higher self and the other is the lower self. Higher self is the original self. The lower self is the individual self. For the sake of Vyavahar, he has given us the individual self. In one Upanishad, they bring it out in the form of two birds sitting on a tree. So this self, the smaller self, when it comes in contact with the realized soul, it becomes aware of the other self. Until such time we are not aware. We feel we are absolute. We are the final one. But when we go to a spiritual preceptor, or either directly or through the scriptures, we come to know that there is a higher self in us. And that higher self remains calm, tranquility. He is always in a tranquil state. He is serene. That is what he explained now. So, in order to link, in order to bridge the gap between the lower and the higher, there are so many methods. The method given by Papa is Ramnam. So Ramnam is the link between us and God, he says, who is seated with him. You have given me the privilege of chanting your name to remember you. Because even to remember you, you should be there, So Ramnam chanting becomes effective when we have this. That is why this dialogue helps a lot. The lower self continues to have a dialogue with the higher self. You are there in the form of creativity. You are there in the form of supreme intelligence. You are there in the form of compassion. You are there in the form of love. You are there in the form of truth. You are there in the form of absence of otherness. You are there in the form of prana, my life force. And you have given me a sense of individuality to function as an individual in the outer world. You have sent me here. There is a prayer. Oh, you are verily the Lord of the universe, pulsating, activating, supporting everything. And it is you who has sent me over here to translate your message into reality. I am carrying out your command. See the difference? I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enters my heart, no thirst for name or fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me so that I may carry on your work only as an instrument in your hands, and that I may offer all the fruits of work unto you. Guide me always in the right path. This is one type of communion. Another one is that thy glory. There are so many, O Lord, I have nothing to ask of you. O Lord means, we are closing our eyes and to the higher self. The sense of individuality is praying to the higher self. O Lord, I have nothing to ask of you. I am blessed with all that one can hope for, one can ask for. I have a mind to think, it is thy glory. I have eyes to see, ears to hear, all these are thy glory. I have in front of me a world so vast, so variegated, enough for me to express myself. Again it is thy glory. I can make, I can unmake, all these possibilities are again thy glory. I seek from thee nothing. For you have given me everything. Inside me, outside me. Your presence is something that I can't miss. I don't want to miss. Let thy grace be upon me, not to gain anything new, but to make me see thy glory. In all my achievements, in all my capacities, let me see thy glory. O Lord, I have nothing to ask of you. Another dialogue, Adorable presence, the individual self is praying, offering its prayer before the higher self within. Adorable presence, thou who art within and without, above and below and all around. Thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being. Thou who art the eye of our eyes, ear of our ears, heart of our heart, mind of our mind, breath of our breath, life of our life, soul of our soul. Blessed dear God, to be aware of thy presence now and here. This is all that we ask of thee. May all of us be aware of thy presence in the east and the west, in the north and the south. May peace and goodwill abide among individuals as well as communities and nations. This is our earnest prayer. May peace be unto all. Why Papa is making us to repeat all these things? Many a times, he has made us to repeat. He says, this is the ultimate aim of your chanting Ram Nam. You must first develop the feeling of nearness, then to move to the feeling of presence, then to the vision of Him everywhere, then finally become one with Him. So these 4 stages, if we have to travel, we need something, we need some support, some vehicle, some medium, and that is Ram Nam. So at the time of chanting Ram Nam, we may not be able to bring all these dimensions. So when we are in a pause moment, whenever we are little free, we try to bring all these things. So that we start feeling the nearness. Every prayer makes us to feel the nearness. Nearness will definitely lead to the feeling of presence. Later on it will take care by itself. The vision of Him everywhere and ultimately becoming one with Him. It is not because of the sense of individuality, the effort. It has started, it has to go. So nearness and presence, So let us all be very clear. Papa is making it very, very clear to us that chanting of Ram Nam should be first to make us feel his nearness and then his presence. We call it as inward journey also. When we go through the academic side, we may think inward journey, outward journey, all those things, so many thoughts will come. We can't help it. That is the limitation of these words. To make us understand in our own language. We have understood in that language only. There is an outward journey and an inward journey. So through that language, they are teaching us. Okay, it is inward journey. But actually we are remembering our own self. So again we go back to the first quotation. Try to enter into the mysterious origin of your and the world life. To know who you are in reality is the real quest. To arrive at this truth, you have to, by a systematized process of thought and discipline, transcend all human limitations set by the body, mind, intellect, and then, embarking on the realm of the spirit, realize your immortal, changeless, blissful nature. This constitutes spirituality. So we are reminded again, don't break your brain with so many ideas. Just start establishing your contact with him and try to have a regular dialogue with him. Initially it can be in the morning. People may call it as meditation or inward journey or anything, whatever. But to us, it is an attempt to talk to him, place everything before him. Many a times we have read many things, but we are repeating because he makes us to repeat. That is why we are again drawn to the words of Vinobaji. In the end of the first chapter he says, we should be, in the introduction to Arjuna's condition helps us greatly in understanding the rest of the Gita. The first chapter is called Vishada Yoga, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So this introduction to Arjuna's condition helps us greatly in understanding the rest of the Gita. Very important word. We should be grateful for this. It also helps us in another way. It reveals Arjuna's straightforwardness and honesty. The word Arjuna in fact means one who is honest and straightforward in nature. He candidly told Krishna all that he felt and thought. He had hid nothing from him and ultimately surrendered to him totally. That is the theme of first chapter. He candidly told Krishna all that he felt and thought, hid nothing from him and ultimately surrendered to him totally. In fact, he was already his devotee. When he made Krishna his charioteer and entrusted to him the reins of his horses, he had got ready to give into his hands the reins of his mind also. Let us do likewise. Let us not think that unlike Krishna, unlike Arjuna, you do not have a Krishna to guide us. Let us not get caught in the fallacy that Krishna was a historical person. Everybody has Krishna, residing in his heart as the indwelling self. He is nearer to us than the nearest. Let us bear our heart with all its impurities and weaknesses before him and say, O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my sole guide My master, show me the right path, I shall follow it. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will become our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips, and he will lead us to victory. This is inward journey. Let us not get caught in the fallacy that Krishna was a historical person. Everybody is Krishna, residing in his heart as the indwelling self. He is nearer to us than the nearest. Let us bear our heart with all its impurities and weaknesses before him and say, O Master, O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my sole guide and master. Show me the right path. I shall follow it. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from our own lips, and he will lead us to victory. That is how Papa gives a lot of importance for Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In fact, he used to say, at least one shloka a day, we must read. Because the connection, we don't want to fill our memories with so many things for reproduction. No. It makes us to go nearer and nearer to him, and feel his presence. So as spiritual aspirants, let us not think that the inward journey is something, totally different. No. It is equally important as Ram-Nam chanting. Chanting becomes a calling on the Lord only when the inward journey is there. That means we don't do it at the surface level. We don't do it at the lip level. But we go it at a depth level. So we are praying to him. You have given us all these indications. So far we did not give much importance to this. Now we know. In order to give us a taste, in order to habituate, you made us to chant. But when the stage has come now, to really make use of the chanting, to go to the source of our being, you, the source. For that, kindly enable us, equip us, empower us. Somehow make us to discipline our mind. Enable us to carry the same thing during our non-chanting time. Because the mind gathers so many thoughts, so many likes, dislikes, prejudices, The moment it runs riot. So during my non-chanting time, kindly enable me to remember about the need to know your presence. We may be doing outwardly all our actions, now treating it as your work. Through that prayer you made us aware that we have been assigned with a particular role to perform. So far we have been thinking that we have cut out a path for ourselves. Now we know that you have assigned us a role. We have forgotten. Now we are slowly trying to understand. But when we are involved in activities, we forget. So kindly facilitate us to remember you, even in the midst of activity, even in a subtle form or subtlest form. With this prayer, we will chant for 2 minutes Ram-Nam. We can close our eyes, we can concentrate upon the theme, and the inner dialogue should go through the words of Ram-Nam. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। 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 श्री राम जय राम, जय राम।